Good day, mga Ferrer. Our topic for today is reception and releasing procedure, classification board and disciplinary board, and punishable acts of inmates. So, the reception and release process in correctional facilities are crucial component of managing inmates with the criminal justice system. These processes are designated to ensure the orderly entry of individuals into the facility, assess their needs and risks, and facilitate their safe and release back into the community. Here's an overview of both process. So kailangan jud nato na i-assist ang inmates like kung sa ilang kailangan like foods and healthcare or facilitate. So aya sila ibalik sa community nga walay na hitabo sila. Reception procedures. So, muna ang reception procedures, intake assessment. So, number 1 is health screening. So, inmates undergo medical and mental health screening to identify immediate health concerns and any required medical care. So, kailangan yun na to nga ginapa-check up ang mga inmates balag kuan pa na sila na mga sala. So, kailangan kung unsabay lang sakit like mga sila mga example is na especially ubo or cancer mga inana. So kailangan gyapon nato sila i-assess. Number 2 is risk assessment. The facility assesses the security risk posed by the inmates considering the factors such as criminal history, gang affiliation, and escape. So mostly mo niyang mga tao nga nay kaso like history like criminal history like nasa like gang or nagitaka sila. And next is identification and documentation. So personal information. Inmates provide personal details for identification purposes including legal name, date of birth, and other irrelevant information. Kailangan po nato makabalo unsa ilang background like unsay pangalan nila, unsa ilang birthday, or asa sila gapuyo. And next is legal documentation. Verification of legal documents such as court orders and sentencing information. So mao ni ang mga tao mao ni ang verification as declaration swearing that the statement is made in a document true, like gisentensya na siya o gikan na siya kaso kanang na final judgment na. And search procedures. So contraband search. Inmates and their belongings are searched to detect and confiscate any prohibited items or contraband. So kinakailangan po nato nga atong i-search nga ilang prisuhan nga makabalo mga makita nato kung naabay joy mga like kutsilyo, mga pusil, or kanang any deadly weapon that can harm the prison or ang mga na priso. So ang next is orientation. Welcome and the facility rules. Inmates receive information about the facilities rules, regulation, and procedures during an orientation process. So bago pagsulod sa mga inmates, kailangan sila nga makabalo sa rules unsay buhaton sa sulod o unsay kailangan na dili pwede buhatan nga di mao dito sa sulod. The next is classification. Security classification based on assessment. Inmates are classified into security levels that determine their housing assignments with facility. Kung unsay ginabuhat dito sa balay, like kailangan nimo maglimpyo sa mga for example is CR, mga inana. And next is property inventory. Belongings inventory. Personal belongings are inventoried and stored securely with restriction on certain items. So ang next is communication. Initial contact. Inmates may be allowed to make an initial contact with family or legal representation. So, gi-allow sila para makipag-contact sa ilang family or illegal representation or kanang ni adto nga parinti ba or kinsa. And next is initial housing assignment. Temporary holding inmates may be temporarily held in a reception area until the completion or assessments, after which assigned a more permanent housing unit. So mga maybe 6 hours man ata processing an order of awaiting transportation, maybe sa jail cell, or it may be an area that is designated for temporary holding processes. And then next is initial release procedures. So muni ang kan re-entry programs. Inmates may participate, and re-entry programs provide support and counseling and resources facilitate a successful to return the community. Muna yung mga tao nga na preso nga success sila sa or na human nila ang ilang kaso nga nagbag-o sila. Then next as documentation. Release paperwork, completion of necessary paperwork including release orders or any required legal documentation. So, muna yung legal documentation, muna yung example affidavits, contractor agreement or mga example na siya. Then corporate and business muna siya example sa legal documents. And next is belongings return. Return of the property. Inmates receive their belongings that were restored during their reincarnation. Muna yung mga gamit sa mga piniriso or kanang mga PDL na ilang gamit na pag katong napriso sila, katong example mga personal mga kanila, pwede nila makuha balik. And next is transportation. Release transportation arrangement for transportation may be provided for inmates being released. So paggawa sa transportation ang mga transportation ay mahimong ihatag alang sa mga preso sa og nakabuhi na sila. Mao na magpahibalo nga ang napriso is authorized by the law to release or karang pwede na siya makagawas. And next is post-release support. Re-entry assistance. Inmate may be provided with information and resources to support their transition back into community. This process aimed to balance security concerns with the right and needs of individual with the correctional system, promoting a safe, orderly environment both inside and outside the facility. The specific steps and details can vary direction and facility process. So both inside and out kanang gikan pagsulod niya or paggawas niya nga safety nga wala inhitabo siya nga naunsa siya sa sulod sa PES 1. Certainly, let's delve a bit deeper into the rules and processes of the classification board and disciplinary board within the correctional system. Classification board, the purpose is the primary goal. Classification board into assess the risks and needs of each inmates, determine to the most appropriate housing and security level within the correctional facility. So kailangan jud na to kailangan jud ng ang mga inmates kailangan na to sila nga determine most kanang so mo ni ang kanang tanan anang matag piniriso aron mahibalan na to nga labing siya kanang facility nila na seguridad seguridad sulod sa correctional facility or kanang safety ang iyang gikatulgan. So factors considered muna yung security risk, the level of risk and inmate poses to themselves, other inmates and staff. 2. Criminal history, the nature of offense and any prior conviction. Number 3 is behavioral history. Inmates conduct disciplinary records within the facility. The next is special needs, medical or mental health requirements. Then next is gang affiliation, potential security risk association with the gang affiliation. Then the process, inmates typically undergo classification process shortly after entering correctional facility and periodically thereafter. The board review information gathered during the intake assessment by conduct interview with inmate. Based on the assessment, the inmate is assigned to security classification, their housing supervision, and access to programs. Next is the disciplinary board. So purpose of disciplinary board is the disciplinary board address the rules of violation committed the inmates with the goal of the maintaining order, discipline, and safety with the correctional facility. So ang goals do sa disciplinary board mo ni ang na ay rules and maintaining order or nagyapon disciplines and susulod sa jail on safety correctional safety gyapon siya with a correctional facility. And rules violations, inmates are expected to adhere to a set of rules and regulation within the facility. Violation may include physical assault, possession of contraband, disobedience, or other prohibited activities. Sa sulod sa isa ka facility or prisuhan nga kuan kanang room or kanang tawag nila nga dira matulog ang mga inmates, nagyusay na may tabo nga physical assault. So mao na mag-set sila og rules para walay may tabong away. And next is due process. Inmates facing disciplinary action are entitled to due process, including notice of the charges, an opportunity to present their case, and something the right to represented as staff of member advocate. And next is consequences. The disciplinary board determines the consequence for violation. Consequence may range from verbal warning to more severe penalties such as loss of privilege, confinement, and segregation or isolation, or additional time added to the inmate sentence. Mo na isagaran nga isulod sila sa isolation mga nilabag sa ilang rules. Next is appeals. Many correctional systems have appeals process allowing to inmates to challenge disciplinary decision if they believe there were errors in the process or if their right were violated. So next is punishable acts of inmates. Punishable acts also known as a rules violation or offenses committed by inmates within a correctional facility can vary in severity. Inmates are expected to adhere to a set of rules and regulations to signate, maintain order, safety, and security within the facility. Common punishable act include like I said before nga kailangan jud mag-set of rules within their sa ilang facilities para walay may tabong nga disgrasya. Both board play crucial roles in maintaining order and security within the correctional facilities. The classification board focuses on long-term so mga assistensya, placement, and management, while the disciplinary board immediate rule and violation mo ni ang nag-focus sila sa rules of violation with the aim of modifying behavior and ensure a safety environment for all inmates. So, ito siya. So, next is physical assault, fighting or physical assault other inmates, staff, or member. Magsagaran, magsunubagay sa sulod bitaw. Then, and contraband possession of the prohibited items such as drug, weapon, at authorized personal belongings. Panay mga chelyo, sa pusil or shabu, nga na. Then disobedience, failure to comply the staff or institutional rules o mga mga tao nga wa ni follow silang rules. Then and theft or property damage, stealing from other inmates or the facility or causing intentional damage or property. muna yung mga pangawat sa sulod bitaw, pangawat ra gamit nga what like kon ng tawag na sa mga personal na siya. Then escape attempts, any efforts to escape or engage activities may be lead to escape ng mutaka sa prisuan. Then disruptive behavior, engaging disruptive or disorderly conduct that interferes within the operational facility authorized to communicate. The next is authorized to communication making authorized to contact with the individual punishable facility commuting other inmates without permission. So ginadili ang pakipag-contact kanang makipagstorya sa mga other inmates without kanang walay permission sa mga BJMP, like example lang. Drug use, possession or use of illegal drugs, uses of prosecution medication, mga drug use, mga shabu. Then next is gang activity, involvement in gang related activity or affiliation that pose at threatened safety of the facility. Sexual misconduct, engaging sexual act or harassment including consensual activity, mo ni siya itong mga kapag like sexual bitaw blue na mo. Then forgery or fraudulent activity such as forging document, attempting city stuff. Ano ang pag-ilad, pamimike ng mga dokumento o panglinlang ng o mangilad kag mga tao. So instigating riots or disturbances, attempting to incite or participating in the disturbance and riots of group violence, mo ni mga grupo sulod sa jail bitaw mag-riot, magsimbagay, magpityanay. Then and next is failure to report information incidents as required of facility rules. So failure to report ang mga sayo. Then next is violation of parole probation term, violation the term of parole probation while incarcerated. Ano yung paglabag sa parole o probation o kang mga parole kanang parole bitaw ito kanang nagdanggi kag sayo bitaw kanang nakagibuhat nga di mao sa sulod sa facilities. Tampering with the security measures, attempting to tamper with the security systems or devices, mga cellphone, mga sulod sa kuan. Unauthorized to use to force, using force against another individual without property justification or authorization. So next is the consequence for this punishable act can vary depending on the severity of the offenses and the policies of the specific correctional facility. Disciplinary action may be include verbal warnings, loss privilege, placement and segregation, and misconduct. It is important to note that correctional facilities typically have to disciplinary to process that includes due the process right for the inmates, allowing them to present their side of the story of the appeal as decision necessary. That's all. Thank you, ma.